Have you ever tried to break a bad habit only to find yourself falling back into it again and again? Maybe it's something small, like checking your phone too often, or something bigger, like struggling with procrastination or unhealthy eating. It's frustrating, right? You know it's bad for you. You want to change, but no matter how hard you try, you feel stuck. Every time you try to make a change, something pulls you back into the same routine, and it feels like you're stuck in a never-ending cycle. You might even start to feel like change is impossible and that you're doomed to live with these habits forever. We've all been there. Whether it's the temptation of old habits, the stress that triggers them, or the lack of motivation to keep going, breaking free from bad habits can feel like an uphill battle. You might feel discouraged, thinking that change is too difficult or that you've tried everything already. But what if I told you that there is a way to break free from your worst habits, not through sheer willpower alone, but with faith, trust, and a deeper connection to the guidance of Allah? Islam teaches us that we don't have to rely on our own strength alone. In fact, true strength comes from relying on Allah and seeking His help. The Prophet Muhammad, PBU, taught us that with patience, consistent effort, and trust in Allah, even the most difficult habits can be changed. The key is not only to focus on the habit itself, but also to strengthen our relationship with Allah, our intentions, and our actions. So if you're tired of feeling stuck and want to change your habits for good, the answer isn't just in trying harder, it's in trusting Allah's plan and using the powerful tools that Islam offers us to make lasting change. Let's explore how you can start breaking free from your worst habits and building a better future for yourself with the help of faith, prayer, and discipline. The first step in breaking free from your worst habits is to acknowledge that change requires more than just willpower. It requires trust in Allah and the understanding that we cannot do everything on our own. The habit you're struggling with didn't form overnight, and breaking it won't happen in a single day either. But that's okay. Islam teaches us that patience, sabr, and consistent effort are key to any transformation. When you rely only on your own strength, you'll find yourself quickly drained and frustrated. It's easy to feel defeated when things don't change as fast as you'd like. But Islam offers a powerful tool to help you. Tawakkul, which means placing your trust in Allah after you've made your best effort. It's about doing your part and then trusting that Allah will guide you through the rest. The Quran reminds us in Surah At-Tawbah, "And put your trust in Allah, and sufficient is Allah as a disposer of affairs." Quran 33:3. This verse is a reminder that after you've put in your effort, it's time to let go of the outcome and trust in Allah's wisdom. Imagine you're trying to stop procrastinating. You tell yourself, "Today I will finish this task." You work hard for a while, but then old habits kick in. You get distracted, you start to doubt yourself, or maybe you feel overwhelmed by the task. This is where Tawakkul comes in. Instead of giving up or feeling helpless, you pause, say a prayer, and ask Allah for help. You remind yourself that it's okay if things don't go perfectly, as long as you continue making progress. By trusting in Allah, you relieve the pressure you've been putting on yourself and allow the process of change to unfold naturally. The Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, demonstrated this concept of trust throughout his life. He worked hard, took action, but always left the results to Allah. He knew that no matter how hard he tried, the outcome was always in Allah's hands. This kind of trust doesn't mean that you stop trying. It means that you recognize your efforts and believe that Allah will guide you, whether you succeed immediately or not. And this is one of the most powerful ways to break free from any habit. When you stop trying to control every detail and instead trust in Allah's plan, you'll begin to feel lighter and more focused, less burdened by the weight of expectations. Breaking bad habits doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens with patience, trust, and a willingness to seek Allah's help. Every time you feel yourself slipping back into old patterns, take a moment to pause and remind yourself, "I've done my part. Now I place my trust in Allah." This act of surrender isn't weakness, it's strength. Trusting Allah and acknowledging that He is in control allows you to break free from the cycle of frustration and to move forward with peace in your heart. As you begin to put your trust in Allah and practice patience, the next key step in breaking free from your bad habits is making dua, sincerely asking Allah for help. While trusting Allah's plan is vital, Dua is a direct connection to Allah where you can pour your heart out, express your struggles, and seek His guidance. It's not just about asking for a solution to your problem, it's about asking for the strength to overcome it, the wisdom to stay patient, and the perseverance to keep moving forward. The power of dua is immense in Islam. It's not just a way to ask for things, it's a form of worship and a reminder that we are dependent on Allah for everything. The Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, said, "There is nothing more honorable to Allah than dua." Tirmidhi. This shows us that when we make dua, we are not only seeking help, but also drawing closer to Allah. It's an acknowledgement that we need Him in every aspect of our lives, including overcoming our bad habits. Think about it. Every time you face temptation, feel like giving up, or find yourself slipping back into old behaviors, you can turn to dua for strength. It can be as simple as saying, "Oh Allah, help me overcome this habit. Guide me to make better choices and give me the strength to remain consistent." The more you connect with Allah through dua, the more you will feel His presence, His support, and His mercy. Dua also reminds us that change doesn't happen overnight, and it encourages us to stay patient and persistent. Sometimes you might not see the results immediately, but that doesn't mean Allah isn't listening. The Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, taught us that dua is answered in 3 ways. Sometimes Allah gives us exactly what we ask for, sometimes He redirects our request to something better, and sometimes He removes harm from us in ways we don't even realize. The key is to keep asking, keep trusting, and keep making dua, knowing that Allah's answer will always be what's best for us in the long run. By making dua a regular part of your journey, you invite Allah's guidance and mercy into your efforts. You begin to realize that you don't have to carry the burden of breaking free from bad habits alone. Allah is there, ready to help, and by turning to Him in dua, you open the doors to change, peace, and spiritual growth. So when you feel overwhelmed, or when you feel like you're falling back into old patterns, turn to dua. Ask Allah for the strength to resist, the clarity to move forward, and the patience to endure. With sincere supplication, you align yourself with Allah's will, and that is where true change begins. You'll find that your bad habits become easier to manage, your heart becomes lighter, and your connection with Allah deepens, guiding you toward a better path. The final piece of breaking free from your worst habits lies in consistency and discipline, 2 essential qualities that Islam encourages us to develop in every aspect of our lives. Islam doesn't teach us to give up when things get tough. It teaches us to keep going, even when the road is hard. This journey of transformation requires steady effort, and with each small step, you begin to build new habits that align with your faith, values, and the person you want to become. The concept of Sabr, patience, is a cornerstone of personal growth in Islam. It teaches us that change doesn't happen overnight. Just as a plant doesn't grow overnight but requires consistent care and attention, our character and habits require time and effort to transform. Overcoming bad habits, whether it's procrastination, unhealthy eating, or negativity, takes time. But through Sabr, we learn to stay focused and committed, knowing that change is gradual and every effort counts, even if the results aren't immediately visible. The Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, demonstrated this perfectly throughout his life. When faced with difficulties, he didn't lose hope or give up. Instead, he showed remarkable resilience, trusting that every trial had a purpose, and his patience led to success in both this life and the hereafter. He said, "Whoever remains patient, Allah will make him patient. There is no gift better and more comprehensive than patience." Sahih Bukhari. This hadith teaches us that patience is not just about waiting passively, it's about staying strong and committed despite the challenges, understanding that every step you take towards improvement is a victory in itself. To make lasting changes, it's important to remain consistent with the actions that align with breaking your bad habits. If you're struggling with procrastination, it's about starting small, dedicating even just 10 minutes a day to focus. If it's an addiction or unhealthy habit, it's about consistently saying no, even when the temptation feels strong. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. As you continue to make these small, consistent efforts, they will gradually become part of your routine, eventually replacing old, harmful habits with new positive ones. Discipline plays a huge role in this process. Islam teaches us the importance of controlling our desires and practicing self-restraint. The act of fasting during Ramadan is a perfect example of this discipline. For a whole month, Muslims restrain from food, drink, and other worldly desires, teaching their minds and bodies to rely on Allah and control their impulses. Similarly, breaking bad habits requires self-restraint and a firm commitment to change. Each time you resist the temptation to fall back into your old ways, you're strengthening your willpower and building a more disciplined, focused life. With patience, consistency, and discipline, breaking free from your worst habits becomes a realistic goal. The process may be slow, and there will be setbacks along the way, but every effort you make is an act of faith and trust in Allah's plan. As you stay committed, you'll begin to see the fruits of your labor. Your habits will change, your relationship with Allah will grow stronger, and you'll feel a sense of peace and fulfillment that comes from knowing you're on the path to becoming the best version of yourself. Remember, no step is too small when it comes to change. With each act of consistency, you are creating a better future for yourself, all while drawing closer to Allah.